Hey everyone, it's Lauren again, and next up we have a behind the scenes tour with Jamie. Now this is a behind the scenes tour of our hospital buildings on site, so you can learn more about the processes, learn more about what we do here at the Sanctuary to take the best care of our residents. Now this is a building that not many people get to see. If you watch our live streams, you'll be very familiar with it, but people that came on tours, that was not something that they would often get to see, so it should be a treat for you guys. Jamie's going to explain all the different machines and everything that goes into running an on-site hospital. So I hope you guys enjoy. Again, afterwards there will be chances for Q&A questions, so if you guys have any questions, wait until the end, and I would be happy to answer those for you. I hope you enjoyed this video.
So we're going to take a look at the inside of the Winsong Memorial Hospital here at the Sanctuary. This hospital is fully outfitted to do any kind of general surgery or dental procedure on the cats, as well as wellness exams. When we bring an animal into the hospital, the first thing that we do is weigh it so that we know how to dose the medications that we're giving the animal. So we have the scale inside for the smaller cats, and we'll just put the squeeze cage on that to get a weight, and then we know the weight of the squeeze cage so we can deduct it from the final weight to get the animal's actual weight.
Aww. 102.2 minus 74.
And then outside we have a large platform that we can roll the transports on, the lions and tigers, and the weight will show up here. So we can do the same thing. We know the weight of those transport cages so that we can figure out how much the animal actually weighs.
These are the transports that we use for the leopards, jaguars, lions, and tigers. And we can roll these up to the enclosure to where the animal is and lure them in with some food. Or if we dart the animal in their enclosure, we can carry them into this transport. These transports vary in weight, and we have their weights documented so that we can figure out how much the cats weigh. But this transport in particular is 1,102 pounds. This is the scale that we use to weigh the big cats. So we can roll this whole transport with the cat inside on top of the scale, and then figure out the actual weight of the cat.
The next thing that we do when we bring an animal into the hospital is get it up onto the surgery table. Even if it's just for a wellness exam, this is the first stop. And so the smaller animals we can just pick up and put on the table. But the reason this table is so vital to the exams of the big cats is that it lowers all the way to the ground, and we can actually just shift the cats from the transport cage right onto the table without having to lift a 400-pound tiger up this high. So it's a hydraulic table that we can plug in, and it goes up and down. And it can raise an animal that is 2,500 pounds. So none of our animals are that much, so it's well over what we need. But it's great to have so that we can get the big guys up here easier. Once we get the cat on the table, the first thing that we want to do is get them intubated so that we can put them under anesthesia. So we do that using these tools. So this basically just goes into the cat's mouth and pushes down their tongue, so that we can use one of those tubes to put down into the airway to administer the anesthesia. So this is a little cat one. This is what we have to use for the big cats. Sometimes if the cats are a little bit awake and we need them to be a little bit more sleepy before we do that part, we'll use a mask to start giving them some of the gas anesthesia to make them go more deep in under sedation. So again, we have a little cat mask here, and then we've got the big lion tiger bucket mask. Pink glitter is very important. And we also have 2 anesthesia machines. So we have our small animal anesthesia machine, and this will work for any of the cats up to the size of a leopard. And then for the jaguar, lions, and tigers, we'll use this big anesthesia machine. The difference is just the size of the bag that helps expand their lungs. So this one has smaller bags, this one has a much larger bag, you can see. This one's very small. This machine also has the capability to breathe for the animal. So sometimes the larger animals have a harder time expanding their lungs fully while they're under sedation. So this machine will actually fill their lungs with oxygen and the anesthesia at the same time to its full capacity, and it'll help them breathe during the procedure. While the cats are under sedation, it's really important to monitor their vitals. So one of the first things that you'll see us do is use this little thing, and it's a machine that shows us their heart rate and how well their body is oxygenating. So it'll show us the percentage of oxygen that's getting into their body. So we can put this little clip on their tongue or their ear or sometimes in between their toes, and it'll read the information and put it on the screen for us. We also use this machine that tells us that, again, their heart rate, it does their blood pressure, it has the ability to do a constant temperature, so we can monitor all those stats while the animal's sleeping. So while the doctor is doing his exam, he'll be drawing blood, doing a basic physical exam of the animal. We'll be taking measurements, and you'll see us use this thing. So this slides up and down, and we measure the thickness of the animal. And that helps us determine what, basically the exposure settings that we need for the x-ray equipment. So we'll be taking those measurements, writing them down, and then we'll use it later when we're doing the x-rays. So this is our x-ray table, and it's capable of x-raying big animals up to 1,000 to 1,200 pounds, which was really important because at the time of building this hospital, we had some really, really big tigers. So this x-ray table actually has the ability to move in many different directions, so we don't have to move the animal itself. When we're in here doing x-rays, we have these lead gowns that we wear to protect ourselves, and we also have badges that measure the amount of radiation that we're exposed to. And these are turned into a governing agency that keeps track of all that. When we take an x-ray, our x-rays show up on this computer here, and then we're able to see them right away to see if we need to take another shot, if we've got everything that we needed, if we need to adjust the exposure, that sort of thing. So this is our wet table. This is where we do our dental procedures. Any of our cats up to leopard, jaguar could fit on this table. If we were doing a dental procedure on a lion or tiger, we might do that procedure on our surgery table, or we could roll the surgery table over here so that we can put the cat's head on here. The reason that this table is important for dental surgeries is that it's basically a large sink. So the cat sits on the grate up here, and a lot of the procedure requires the use of water. So there's a lot of water coming out of the mouth. That can just go right into the sink and drain. This is our dental x-ray equipment. So this is the x-ray gun that we use to take images of the cat's teeth. And then we have these different size plates. So for a small cat, you would put this size plate in its mouth behind the tooth to take the x-ray. On the larger cats, we have this size plate. So you can see the big difference between the two. We would put this into the cat's mouth, take the x-ray, and then this machine here reads the x-ray. So we load the little plate into there, and then it gets the information to our computer, and then we can see the x-rays in real time to see what the issue is that the cat has going on with its mouth. If we do a surgery, we will take x-rays at the end to make sure that any of the fragments of that tooth are completely out. Okay. So over here we have our blood machines so that we can get results right during the exam so that we know how to better treat the animals. We have a centrifuge that spins down the blood to separate the blood from the plasma. We have a blood gas machine that shows us really important information for when we're doing exams on big cats like lions and tigers. Over here we have our CBC machine, so that tells us their red blood cells or white blood cells. We're able to tell if they have an infection going on or something like that. And then we have our chem machine over here that tells us more like their kidney values, liver values, that sort of thing. Ta-da! We also have a microscope here so that we can look at samples, anything from fecal samples to blood smears to tissue samples we can look at in the microscope here. Anything that requires more in-depth analysis we'll send out to a laboratory. We also have ultrasound. So with this machine, we're able to see some of the soft tissue inside the animal. So the x-ray shows us more of the bones and what's going on there. This will show us more of the organs. So you can see up here we have a camera, and the program that we have for this ultrasound, it actually allows us to phone into an expert. They can watch us in real time and help us get the best images that we can then forward on to a specialist to look at. Whenever an animal's under sedation, we really want to make sure that their body's very well hydrated so that they can process the drugs properly. And we'll always put them on fluids. So those fluids are going to be given sub-Q or intravenously. Most often during our procedures here, we'll do sub-Q fluids. That means the fluids are just going up basically under the layer of the skin. And so this is a fluid bag, and at the end of it, it has a little needle that would go into the skin. And then we can turn it on here and monitor how much that we're giving using the markers on the side of the bag. In some cases, when we're working with a really sick animal or a small animal, they can get really cold from the fluids because they're just room temperature. So in that case, we run the line through this machine here, and it warms the fluids as they go in. Now, if we were to do the fluids into the veins, we have this fluid pump here. And the doctor can put in the amount of fluid over what period of time that they want the animal to get. And this machine will actually push the fluids in for us. So when we do procedures in the hospital, we always invite our volunteers and interns that are here to observe the procedure. But we don't want a lot of people downstairs because we want to keep this place pretty free and open. So we have a viewing gallery upstairs. And so above our surgery table is a really big plexiglass window. So we can get everybody upstairs and they can watch the surgery from up there. We're also always live streaming pretty much everywhere on the sanctuary, and we have an Explore cam right above the surgery table as well.
So just outside our hospitals, we have our outdoor recovery page. This page is concrete because sometimes when we do surgery, the animals aren't permitted to go immediately back out into their enclosures where they'll be laying in dirt and going into their pools and swimming. Their incisions have to be kept clean and dry. So that's why this page is concrete. We can keep everything very clean, and it gives the animals some more space than just the transport to walk around during the recovery process. This is the recovery hospital for the smaller animals. They'll spend time inside here if they require more monitoring observation, or again if they have a surgical procedure where they can't go back out into their enclosure. This hospital has enough space to house up to 4 small cats and 2 medium cats, and that's it.
Okay, so I hope that you guys found that video informative. I don't think there was anybody better to explain it, so all of the information that you got is basically our day-to-day running of the hospital. Anytime we take a cat in, we have to go through all these different steps to make sure that everything goes well. Behind us, the footage that you're seeing now is one of our vet visits from a while back, just giving you a beginning to end idea of how everything goes. For those of you that are on YouTube, Afton posts a lot of videos of vet visits, so you can get more information there. But I saw a lot of you commenting about how expensive veterinary equipment is, and absolutely, yes it is. All of our equipment and all of our supplies we are able to get thanks to you guys. So again, thank you to everybody that supports and donates. It allows us to give the best level of care to the cats. In addition to what you just saw in the video, you can also go to Explore. So explore.org, which I mentioned with the rehab program. You can actually go there and see whenever our veterinary procedures are live. You can see them live there. and you can also see highlights when we are not live. So again, head over to explore.org and you can see more there. So I'll run through and see if anybody has any questions. We have a little bit of time, so if there's anything anybody wants to know, I will do my best to answer the questions. So I know a couple of people have been asking about Pharaoh. He is actually still in the rehab hospital. He is not outside just of yet, but he's doing really well. He's eating well. So hopefully he continues to improve. And thank you, Karen, for sharing that link. And yes, we are very fortunate with Dr. Justin. His day job is actually at the Humane Society of Tampa Bay, and then he comes and donates his time here, which is very helpful. We also have Dr. Wynn, who you saw in a couple of the videos. She works at Ehrlich Animal Hospital, and she donates her time also. Thank you everybody that is donating, we definitely appreciate your donations. Let me see if there are any other questions. So somebody asked what are the two hospital names. So the newest hospital is the Winsong Hospital. I'm not sure if you saw the painting that was on the wall that is actually of Winsong and was done by one of our former interns, and then the recovery hospital is the West Bench. Hi Brittany. So somebody asked what is the difference in procedures for bobcats versus cougars. Honestly, a lot of the protocol we do is the same. It's just dependent on the size of the animal as to what equipment we use. As Jamie was mentioning, we do have two different sizes of anesthesia machines, and for our larger cats, obviously, it's going to be a little more labour intensive than with the small guys. We do always have people watching the animals throughout the period that they're in the hospital. So all of their vitals are monitored to make sure that everything goes well with them. Somebody asked if cats close their eyes when they're sedated. Typically they do not, but we do have a lubricant that we put in their eyes to stop their eyes from drying out. So somebody was also asking about the fluids. So yep, the fluids are sub-Q and they go under the skin, and that will just absorb into the cat naturally over a period of time. We just want to make sure that they're well hydrated when they wake up, and it will help to move any sedation through their body and out. Somebody asked how Amanda is doing. Amanda's doing well. She is eating well and seems to be doing good. So yeah, the secret viewing room above is great, especially for our intern groups. They can usually be quite large groups, so it allows for them to see the procedure without being in the actual surgery room themselves or in the examination room. It just helps to keep everything clear and make sure that we can get to what we need to get to without pushing through a bunch of people. Somebody asked about the paw prints. Yep, so each time we do a veterinary procedure, we do get paw prints from the cats. It's a great reward for a lot of our volunteers. They love to get things like that from the cats that they love and care for. And we also obviously share those with you guys on products and merchandise. Wow, so many questions. Yep, so any cats that live together, we do spay and neuter. Obviously we don't breed here. We don't believe in breeding for our life in captivity, so if we do have cats that live together, they are spayed and neutered. So thank you, Deb, for posting the link explaining the paw prints if you guys want to go check that out. Raja, I am not 100% sure what kind of anesthesia is used. And yes, Kathy, this was Filmo's x-ray. Filmo was definitely a surprise to all of us. If any of you saw his procedure, that was definitely not at all what we'd expected. But he is still doing well, he's thriving. For those of you that don't know, he has a pretty severe curvature in his spine, but he gets pain medications to help with that, and as you can see, he is doing just fine. So somebody asked, how long does it take to get to my level? I assume you mean shirt-wise. I actually started in 2013 as an intern, went through all 5 levels, and then became staff in 2015. So I've been here now just shy of 7 years? Just over 7 years. Somebody's asking again about Amanda. I can definitely put in a word and see if we can swing by her today. So, other questions? So we are definitely very fortunate to have the veterinary hospitals on site. Obviously it's a lot less stressful for us and the animals to be able to do everything here. It's also, you know, if we have any kind of an emergency, it's great for us to be able to deal with it straight away without having to take the cats elsewhere. A lot of facilities do not have that, so we are very, very grateful to be able to take care of our cats here. Okay. So it seems like you guys pretty much got everything you needed from that video. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that we were able to teach you something and show you something that you didn't know. I know for all of you die-hard big cat fans, it's very hard for us to teach you anything new. I feel like you often know more than we do. So I really, really hope you enjoyed that. And if you do have any more questions, please keep commenting. We can go back and answer those. Deb is also online, so she can answer some and provide links. Someone asked about TomTom quickly. Yes, TomTom did go back home. She is back outside. So thank you again, guys. As Brittany said, we'll be going live again at 3 with Jasmine and a pumpkin, and then we will have a couple more videos later on today. So thank you guys, have a great day, and I'll see you in a little bit.